I can truly say hello, viewer, meaning Melvin. Hello, viewer. Hello, Melvin. Today is Monday, 29th of August. I am Mr. Brown, he, Hulk, whatever. We are doing the overtime from the main program, so a bit of a bonus stream with the untalked about slides from the previous show. I would say let's get the guests out, but they're out already. So, quick introductions. Lord Cord, hello.
Hello again.
Hello there again. Not Brian. Hello, Brian. Great to have you on, mate.
Oh, hey, guys.
Monsieur Mega Geek
Hello, I'm back.
and El Senor Matty Catty 83.
What's up, nerds?
Everybody well, yes?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Shall we? Yes. Okay. So, end of week musings extra. I had to whip this up quickly, like a souffle. Free eye test. You know the drill. Okay. So this was. We didn't quite put to bed the Warner Discovery stuff when Paul was on. The kind of main news is Warner is I think the $60 billion in debt. They've only got enough money to release 2 films. Is it this year? So Aquaman, apparently it's super woke, has gone back to next Christmas for reshoots. So a mystery film, well, it says event. I'm assuming, event film, February 10th, 2023. I'm going to ask the panel, educated guess. I'm going to ask at the bottom of my screen, the wonderful Matt Katz. What do you think, Matt?
I mean, I have no clue. Does it? I don't know. Does it even matter? Who cares? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I have no guesses at this moment. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Ian, guesses?
No idea. What? So they were going to release Aquaman. Let me get this straight. And they're not now. So they're going to put another film in its place.
Aquaman. The other one took its place. Shazam 2, that took its March release date, and Aquaman got pushed back to December.
Right. So what's the question?
What movie do you think they're going to release on February 10th?
What is this film? Because nobody knows what it is.
What? Warner Bros. Discovery? Sorry, I'm confused. I don't know what you're talking about.
They are going to release a movie on February 10th, but they haven't released what movie they're going to release on February 10th. So we're just trying to guess on what it could be.
I don't care. Move on. I don't care.
Not Brian?
Hazard a guess.
Batgirl.
They have a list of projects coming up if you want to have a...
Well, I don't think they've got any. That's a problem. I will say, anybody in the chat, educated guesses what this could be.
I was about to give you a list, but anyway.
Go on in, mate. Go on, give us a list.
Go on, mate. Fill your boots, son.
Don't worry, darling. I don't know when that's going to be out. That may be out before the year. It seems like The Lost King, Emily, Black Adam, Bones and All, House Party, Creed 3, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Evil Dead Rise, The Flash, Barbie, Meg 2, The Trench, Blue Beetle, The Nun 2, June Part 2. It certainly won't be June Part 2, will it? Let's get a long way to go.
That's next year. End of next
It
year.
might be the Barbie movie.
Maybe. Do you know what? That's probably what it is.
Will they be done with the Barbie movie by then?
I think they're done with it now.
I didn't see that they had finished filming.
I can't imagine there'll be too much CGI on that. I'm going to put my money on Barbie movie, which I can't wait to see personally.
Isn't that what's her name?
Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Actually, Margot in hot pants. Actually, that might be unironically.
Do you know what though? When I first saw Margot Robbie, I used to fancy that. I thought, of course, she's lovely. But now I look at her, I just don't fancy her anymore for some reason. Anybody feel that way?
She had a glow about her before.
Yeah.
What was it? Hollywood decided she was to lose a stone and a half or some silly amount of weight from her, but I thought she was amazing way back. But,
Great in Neighbours. Moving on.
Yeah, and she was good in Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh,
She was.
great film.
Those
Great
legs.
film.
Crazy.
I always
legs.
figured she should.
It was her
the first time
legs
I
you
s-
were looking at, huh?
One of the first times I saw her, I think, well, actually, it might have been about 2011 when she did the Pan Am series. I looked at her and thought, my God,
Oh,
she
seen
looks
that?
like
Okay.
she looks like a character from a book I had called How to Draw
Females.
Comics the Marvel Way. It
Yeah.
was called.
Yeah.
I thought she looks so. She would be perfect
and
for one of
ugly.
these Marvel characters, and then they ended up giving her the DC gig for Harley, who are kind of face shape and mannerisms completely out of sync. However, she did do a good job playing that part.
You know who got offered that role before her and turned it down? That Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts.
Yeah,
Really?
she got offered that role and turned it down.
I heard it was Lady Gaga that got offered it.
She got offered a part in the Birds of Prey movie and she turned it down. And I'm assuming it's because she's like, no, I want to be Harley Quinn, and then she ended up getting a Harley Quinn gig in Joker too. So
Lord, educated guess.
I have no guess. I have not got a clue. Long-awaited sequel to
Weapons of Mass Destruction.
Was it Star Trek?
I don't know.
I kind of thought it might be Birds of Prey, but the original cut. Or is it Suicide? Sorry, is it Suicide Squad? Which one am I getting myself mixed up? The David...
the Ayer cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Suicide Squad. But
right.
I mean, I don't know, man. He's trying to save money, and they still have to finish the stuff that they didn't do. Because
but look how well Snyder Cut did, though.
You know, I thought it did well too, but I was listening to a YouTuber the other day, and they were saying that it didn't do as good as everybody thinks it did. They just won't release the numbers on if it did. But I honestly don't know. It could have done gangbusters, but I don't know.
Yeah, like YouTubers know exactly what's going on in that area.
Right on.
Yeah,
it didn't deserve to do well. Is my only joke.
So take it with a pinch of salt.
I'm on Lord Cord's side. The film was okay, but it was not perfect. It was not great. It was just mildly entertaining as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
In the chats, Geralt of Trivia. I feel the same way, Mega Geek. That's about Margot Robbie. But I've never fancied her though.
Can I just ask, Geralt, is your profile picture Ron Swanson with a ponytail? I've just noticed that.
Okay, so much happenings at Warner Bros. Discovery, hopefully for the better, where we might be getting some decent films. As I said to Matt Katz before the previous stream, I just have a bit of a soft spot for Warner Brothers because they always released the best films in the 70s and 80s. And growing up as a kid,
Dirty Harry,
it was Warner Brothers. And I think, speaking for myself, I would be genuinely pleased if Zaslav turned it around and started giving us some decent stuff. But that's just
really, though, we don't know what's going on there. I mean, this is all speculation about Zaslav, getting rid of woke culture in Warner Brothers. It sounds like it, but in reality, is that true? That's the question.
Well, I think if you look what he did to Discovery before it was like not anything, and he turned it around, and now they're making a profit. And he did a lot of reality TV, which it sounds like that's what he's going to do with the HBO Max and stuff. But he did turn Discovery around and made it a profitable company. So I think that if he does what he did with Discovery, just with Warner Brothers, I think that it will be a success. It's just he's going to need some time. So I think he did it in 5 years with Discovery. So I think he just needs some time to.
Yeah, because it'll be all the stuff coming through the system.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I hope what we all suspect he's doing is what he's doing. Like, for instance, remember when that guy took over the BBC? What's his name? I can't remember. It was like a couple of years ago.
I want to say Tim Davey, but I
That's
don't
it.
know about that.
Tim Davey.
Everybody was saying, "Oh yeah, they're gonna fix Doctor Who, gonna do this," and he didn't do nothing. He didn't do anything. In fact, he embraced a version of Doctor Who. So, let's just take all of this as a pinch of salt. Yes, we hope he's getting rid of woke culture in Warner Brothers, but whether he's doing it or not, it's another matter.
Serious question: is it a pinch of salt or a grain of salt?
It doesn't matter. It means the same thing as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, moving on.
Who's this guy losing his hair? Who's that fella?
I think this is the guy. Did he do WandaVision?
Yes, he did WandaVision.
And he was going to do Star Trek 4.
He was.
God, it would have been woke then, wouldn't it?
And he's beamed out.
He has. He got a better gig.
Fantastic Four is going to be woke as hell. Sue Storm is going to be the one that's in charge. Reed Richards is going to be pushed to the back. So is the Thing. that's what we're going to expect.
I'm pretty sure we'll get fantastic, like at least one or two cast members announced at D23, which is I believe September 8th. Don't quote me on that. It might be the 23rd. I can't remember, but yeah, I don't think he was a good choice. WandaVision, I didn't like WandaVision, but one thing that I definitely thought was bad was the directing. I don't think that he is a cinematic director. He's basically, done TV shows, and I think that it shows. I don't think he can handle a whole movie.
He's not in charge, though. He's not in charge of what he may have a little bit of. This is my guess, obviously, because once Marvel Disney takes over a series, it's their way or the highway. So when he's taken over Fantastic Four, you can bet your bottom dollar they've got the special effects people to do all the action stuff, and he's not gonna have a word on it, and other stuff is going to be, he's going to be told what to do.
Yeah, I get a strong impression of that, especially in WandaVision. I mean, the closing episode in WandaVision, which ends just as every Marvel thing ends, flying around, shooting lasers at people. And it was so tonally different to the entirety of the series up until that point. You looked at it and you thought, yeah, they'd already made this, hadn't they? And then you just had to write your way to that position, as opposed to that being the most natural end for the season, which it absolutely wasn't. Can't
look how different the tone was for the first Thor movie, and then Iron Man. They're both standalone films, both of them.
Yeah.
But if you look at all the Disney Marvel films now, they all seem to have that same pattern, the same thing. It's the same tone. It's like they got a program and they just hire a director just to be the director, but he's not really got any directing duties. He's just they just point him in the right direction and he just does his best. But they're in total control of everything now, even down to the way it's directed. So that's what I think anyway.
It's
what I suspect.
Filmmaking by committee then.
Yeah, filmmaking by painting by numbers. That's what it is now, because they have definitely got their score sheets, haven't they? Up Disney Marvel, and as I said, every series is the same bloody thing. They they advertise it as this person, but it isn't really about that person. It's about the woman behind the person, and then at the end of the show, it's about the woman. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's the same. It's the same record they keep playing.
Bait and switch.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
Melvin Deeply, the first Thor movie wasn't that great.
No, it wasn't.
Really?
It wasn't. It was okay.
The Thor movie? Wrong.
Yeah, it was okay.
That Thor movie is awesome. Oh man, that first
second one was
so good.
One of the worst MC.
It was.
Yeah, but
the point I'm trying to make is you can see it's Brannan's film. When you watch that film,
it's Brannan's film.
Right?
I liked it.
Yeah, exactly.
Branagh managed to get a nice balance between the comedic aspects and the drama, and a lot of the other Marvel films have struggled to do that, and it definitely, as Ian says, has his own stamp on it. The second one I could understand. They seem to follow much of the same plot as the first one, when Thor had already learned his lesson. I don't really know why they did that.
Branagh should have just directed all of them. Well,
yes.
That's just me.
He would have left anyway, because he would have found out that he didn't have control. And I know Branagh, he loves having control over what he's shooting. Otherwise, he wouldn't do it. Just when I gave him that project, the the Orient Express, he was totally in control of everything as a director and as one of the co-producers. So he won't do anything unless he knows, it's going the way he wants it to go. So He wouldn't have joined Marvel. That's probably why he left, actually.
In the chats, Movie Cynic, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Movie Cynic.
Good evening.
String of credits on IMDb, but it tends to be one episode here, 2 episodes here, rather than a massive series. I mean, it seems to be that WandaVision is maybe the 2 the most.
That's probably that sort of ties into the point, that doesn't it, about the fact that they don't tend to have overall creative control. So if you can't really get established names who are willing to accept that they're not the ones really in charge of the films they're stewarding. So because they're not in charge and they're not really setting the creative direction and they're not really involved in writing too much of it, and the ending is already set for them, it's easier to find no names like this guy to take on a project. The same thing's happening with Rings of Power. I mean, the 2 guys that they've put in charge of Rings of Power have, I think, 1 credit to their name, and it's not as writers, it's not as directors, it's just producers for some minor TV show that nobody's ever heard of, because they're not really the ones in charge of the whole thing. They're nominally there to make stuff happen.
It's true. Well, that's what we suspect. I mean, obviously, we don't know, but it seems that way.
I wonder what's going to happen with Star Trek. Is it ever going to get made?
I kind of hope not.
Well, the thing is, though, right? I didn't mind the first Star Trek movie. I thought it was a very good start to rebooting the series. But obviously, what came after it was absolute nonsense. But you know, it had promise, and they basically fucked it up, more or less. But there might be a chance if they get a really good director and they let him, you know, do what his thing. And if he invokes the spirit of, you know, Star Trek, the Star Trek that we know, it might stand a chance. You never know.
It can't get any worse than the last one, as long as they don't have the big final fight scene, the ship blasting, who was it, Beastie Boys or something?
That was terrible.
Jesus Christ. Do not let anyone anywhere who's ever been anywhere involved in the Fast and Furious franchise, do not let them near a serious production. It's just utterly silly.
But you see, Lord, that was a horrible pairing. Why would you hire someone that's actually made a living directing films about fast cars to direct Star Trek? Because Star Trek is not Star Wars.
No.
You know, that's how they've been treating it. They've been treating every movie with Pine in it like Star Wars, and it's not Star Wars. You know?
Mind you, I wouldn't have let that director anywhere near Star Wars either, but you know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Here we go in the chat. Sorry, I'm not paying attention, guys. The Movie Cynic. If Kenneth Branagh got to do Thor 2, MCU was so popular by that point, they wouldn't have let him do those Dutch camera angles anymore.
Well, yeah. I think Batman's famous for the Dutch angles. Batman, 60s Batman, obviously.
Melvin Deeply, I thought the 1970s Orient Express was much better than the recent one. Better cast too. Branagh didn't suit the part of Poirot, which I can't say.
Right.
Albert Finney was much better. Anyone agree? I think he does, mate.
I agree, totally.
I also agree on Dunkirk, which Branagh was in. That was much better done in the 50s.
Still liked it, though.
Actually not a fan of Kenneth Branagh. I think so everything he does seems to be sort of like pompous and very self-serious, and he always has to stand there looking grand.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, you're absolutely right there. I mean, the guy was, you know, he was born, you know, with a silver spoon, not up his ass, but you know. But the thing is, though, you can't say that he's not talented. He's a very talented man. He's a very talented director, and you got to give it to him. He pours his heart and soul into every project that he's in. And you can't say any fairer than that. Yes, he may be a bit pompous and stuff like that, but he does try his best. And I'll take my hat off to that, you know? Anyone that tries their best, you know?
Is he a professional?
Totally.
Absolutely.
There you go. It's good enough for me. Okay, let's move on. So we get the feeling Fantastic Four will be a bag of shite.
Because if they haven't got the right producer or the director on board, I mean, this guy's hardly... Why would you... If you're spending money on Fantastic Four and it's going to be a blockbuster film for the summer, why would you hire someone that's only directed a couple of episodes of something? You'd go like, you'll try and find someone, you know, like Spielberg or I don't know, someone.
He's a yes man.
Yes.
Yes.
Also,
I've just realised.
why do all these modern new people who come in, they all look like variations of Daniel Kibblesmith? They all look like dweeby little, like, I was bullied at school types, and now I'm going to tell this emotional story about how I overcame that in the form of superheroes, because people find villains threatening, and I find them very threatening because I'm a weak person. They always look, it's something about them. Not sure.
Well, go ahead.
No, you're the guest, my friend.
Oh, I was just going to say
proceed.
that according to a certain YouTuber, I guess he had the best pitch out of everybody that wanted to direct. Because I guess also Peyton Reed wanted to direct this movie, the guy that did the Ant-Man movies. But I guess this guy's pitch was the best one as far as for the
No, he didn't pitch nothing. They know exactly what they're going to do with Fantastic Four. They wanted someone that would be pliable. That's why they've got him. I mean, this is my guess. Exactly. This is my guess. They're playing that record, and they won't stop until the record actually breaks.
Now, I have a question for you. Are you guys, are any of you excited about a Fantastic Four movie, even if they did it like, from because even if they did it like the comic books, because the Fantastic Four for me have never been like huge. So I'm all like, okay, if they make it, I'll watch it, but I'm not excited for it.
Okay, let's look at the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four is the Thing, Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm, and Johnny Storm, right?
Right.
They're all white. Okay, right? So that's one
Honkies.
thing we should. Yeah.
Honkies,
third thing is that they never ever make whoever played the Thing in the other movies funny, because Ben Grimm in the comics was absolutely hilarious, and I used to laugh every time I used to read the Fantastic Four, because he always used to come out with the quips. Always. They got the thing about the Thing and Johnny having problems together. They got that right in the last iteration of Fantastic Four, but they missed out the humor of Ben Grimm's humor.
I've never seen that one version.
Sorry, the last one. Yeah, because remember Johnny Storm kept teasing him in the last one. The one with Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. That one.
Well, that's not the last one.
Sorry, I forgot about that one because it's so awful. I just scrubbed it from my mind.
It is really, really bad.
Yeah.
I quite like the second one, other than the Galactus was a cloud. But there you go.
Yeah. But what they have to do is they have to invoke the spirit of the 70s Fantastic Four, and I think it will work if they did that and get a really good director in, and a really good producer and really good script writers to actually update it for today's world. That's what they need to do.
Question for you, Ian. Do you know any directors who could do it?
Kind of. I'll hire Lost Chord to write the script. That's all I can say.
This is probably about the last kind of relatively high profile one that they could use. They could use, if you do it right, they could use this as a springboard for the next phase, because they're going to have to start up a new or bigger, more grandiose story to try and come with the previous versions that they've had, the Infinity War saga, sorry. But can they do it right? They've tried it twice now, and they had a sequel to the first one, and it's been insipid to say the least. So I
think that there are some that just don't work on film as well as they work in comics. My impression of the Fantastic Four has always been it's one of those casts of characters. There's something about it, I can't quite put my finger on what, that makes it ideal for a comic and shit on film. It's never been adapted well. I don't think it could be adapted well. There's some, I don't even know what it's like. Some of the villains that they use, just they work again in comics. They look cringy on screen. Like the fucking Silver Surfer is such a terrible idea for a villain on screen. I've never been a fan. Of course, they've got to try and find some way of integrating the X-Men as well, haven't they? Because that's the next thing they're going to be trying to do.
Persons.
X-Persons. Well, actually, they might all be X-Men, but in a different way. It's just going to be, they do seem like they're sort of floundering for a sense of direction, and they're really, really struggling to find one. I think not optimistic about this. It might be unintentionally funny, though, because if it does anything like what WandaVision did, then the villain will, I don't know, commit genocide or, like, perpetuate galactic slavery and then be hailed as a deeply misunderstood hero, because that's what WandaVision did. And then Forgiven. So that would be unintentionally funny. I kind of hope they do that.
I've just realised Matt Shackman he must like directing films that have got 4, because it's Fantastic Four and the Star Trek 4. Moving on.
I real quick, this will drive Mega Geek crazy. So Dan Slott just finished his run on Fantastic Four, and he gave Reed Richards a sister. She's a black girl that is saving the Earth through gosh, these what are those creatures called in the ocean? Shit, I can't remember. No, no, but she's just as smart as him.
Mermaids?
But she's
Hold on.
not.
So how comes he's got a black sister?
Because his dad was a man whore, and he's
No, whoa, but how comes he's got a black sister?
because his dad
She would be and I hate to use this word, it's an old word, half caste, wouldn't she? She would be
I think
wouldn't be black.
She
Depends
is,
on the I guess it depends on the makeup.
yeah, she is mixed, I think, but yeah, his dad got around, and he just now got a sister.
Shall we just quickly go back to that? And Matty, would you care to read this next comment?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. In the new Fantastic Four movie, Johnny Storm should be a white guy until he turns into the Human Torch for the first time, then make it a black guy. Diversity higher for the win.
And that was from Marlin the Unlucky.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Moving
That'd be
on.
funny.
Moving on. We'll give the last word.
They should all be. I hate race swapping. I really do, with a passion. As I said, it's literally saying that black people are not good enough to have their own characters. It really is saying that. And fuck Hollywood for doing this. We don't want hand-me-downs. We want original characters. We want new characters created for people of color. So I really don't believe it. And I don't believe in gender swapping either. I think it's stupid. Anyway.
Melvin Deeply. Hello, Melvin. Again. They're too greedy. They're trying to grow the franchise too fast, and they're not willing to put in the time and efforts. MCU is at least 85% Deadwood. I'd probably say it's 95, but there you go. Moving on. Ruffalo's been at it again. Who would like to... not Brian. Do you know anything about this, mate?
No. I'm afraid I had to. I woke up in rather a bad mood, and the first thing I saw was Ruffalo talking absolute bollocks. I'm afraid I had to reply. Not that he's ever going to see it, but I certainly felt better after tweeting.
Well done for not replying, by the way.
Yes.
Geralt says Ruffalo at it again. Yeah.
Sure is.
What's he been saying then, Brian?
The irony in this, just quickly, is that the accusation is unintentionally revealing. So essentially, fans and internet people are being accused by Ruffalo and others of review bombing things based solely on the race or gender of the lead and not on the quality of the thing itself. The irony is that actually, well, I don't doubt that some people are doing that, but the people who are most reliably doing that are professional critics who actually rate these things way more highly than they deserve on exactly the same grounds. But they aren't criticized for being bad faith reviewers, even though they're just shills and they will fawn over anything that has a diverse cast, even if the story's utter wank. So fuck him. Mark Ruffalo is a moron. But this is a guy who, the same day I think it was, decided he would weigh in on Venezuelan constitutional politics because the is it Venezuela? No, Chilean. The Chilean constitutional politics. The Chileans are currently voting to turn themselves into an economic basket case like the rest of South America. And Mark Ruffalo is, of course, entirely in favor of that because he's a fashionable lefty. So when essentially he's just weighing in on stuff he knows absolutely nothing about. He's one of those people who's guaranteed to say something stupid every time he opens his mouth.
Actors need to stay off Twitter. They really do. Actors need. If I was an actor, I wouldn't even have a thing on Twitter. I'd stay away from all kind of social media. I only have Facebook up for my family, and that's it. Because they can get into trouble just for saying one word or one sentence. Is ridiculous.
Cunt, that can get you into trouble.
Oh
yeah. Here you go, Marlin the Unlucky at the Mega Geek. That's you in. You are spot on. Make a great black character everyone loves, not race swap. So again, not race swap the white ones because you don't want to get creative. I fucked that up, but we know what you mean.
I mean, you know, there are a lot of black, black heroes out there, and also they should
Blade?
make up some as well. Yeah, Blade. Was it Black Lightning? Luke Cage, Power Man, or don't call him Luke Cage, Power Man anymore. But Luke Cage. There's a lot of them out there. What is it, Shaft? I'm still puzzled why they haven't made a Shaft TV show.
Mac out of Predator.
I mean, they've made everything but a Shaft TV show. You'd think Netflix would jump on that.
There was a Shaft movie straight to Netflix, wasn't there? Just
it was Samuel L. Jackson. But just like how Tom Cruise did the Reacher thing, they could do a TV show with Shaft. I mean, Shaft is a multifaceted character. I mean, it could really, talk about diversity. That could push diversity the right way. But yet, then no one's considering it. They'd rather get Iron Man to be a black man, or he has a black sister, or Reed Richards has a black sister, and it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Anyway,
could they call Iron Man? Just call it Black Man.
Look, seriously, they need to respect people of color, and they're not doing it. They're not doing it. All this rubbish is just to feed their stupid religion thing.
It's almost like a horrifically racist person trying to be woke. It's like the Alan Partridge version
the worst.
Of woke. Yeah.
Same thing with gay people as well. They really need to make some really they do. They really need to make some really good characters, gay characters. They really do, new ones. So we can move forward into the future, because I do at heart believe in diversity. I don't believe in the diversity that is being presented to us. That's the problem.
Yeah. But a lot of these people seem to think that their way is the only way. Just looking at Ruffalo, it just seems to be this thing in Hollywood. They can't seem to accept that possibly something they have made might just be shit.
Bag of shit.
Bag of shite.
Bag of shite. Melvin, let's talk Venezuela. I liked Chavez, not America Chavez. I think the Yanks probably killed him. Did anybody watch that Oliver Stone documentary? I think Time Prophet wants to marry Tom Cruise. I mean, Tom Cruise playing Reacher is a short person playing a tall person. It made a great series too.
The thing is, though, I think Tom Cruise used the Reacher series just to see what kind of action he can do. Like, for instance, in the first one, that fantastic car chase in the first movie. So they utilized what they learned from that in the Mission Impossible movies, the movies that he really owns. So I think Jack Reacher was just a playing field for him to try things, and then he let it go because he knew that he wasn't right for the role. But that's just my guess, obviously. Yeah,
I don't think I ever saw the second one.
The second one's terrible.
Yeah, you don't need to see it. It was a little bit of a departure from the book. So
I thought first one was just decidedly average for a Tom
I thought the
Cruise
first
movie.
one had some really nice moments in the first one. It had loved the car chase. That was a spectacular car chase, great stuff. And I love the whole idea of Reacher, how like he and just the things that he does, like when he was on the phone and a guy says, "I've got your girlfriend," and he just said, "Well, you can keep her," and he puts the phone down. Do you know what I mean? I just like those kind of things. Yeah, kind of taking something that you've seen in a movie and then twisting it on its head, kind of thing, sort of thing. But anyway,
those are really good books. I personally enjoy them. So,
And
the show does a really good job of interpreting them.
Yes, definitely.
We all need to check out the Reacher TV series, don't we?
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Okay, so what we're saying, Mark Ruffalo, take your paycheck, shut the fuck up.
Stay off.
I do. It would be really hard. I don't think you couldn't even get away with saying, as an actor, I wouldn't be on Twitter, because Disney's now using Chadwick Boseman's Twitter account as a zombie to market the next Black Panther film. So you might choose not to be on there, but they would put you on there somehow, and they would speak on your behalf.
Yeah.
So hold on. So this poster is Princess Leia under there? Up his ass.
Is this a different cut of the TV show, or
No,
what is
no, no.
the
This is
making of?
this is a
far
making of
worse.
documentary.
Look on the
Apparently-
right-hand side, Matt, and you'll see.
Yeah,
Oh, the
they've
making
decided
of,
it was
okay.
so well received by everyone that everybody really wants to know how. Things. I saw a couple of the clips for the making of documentary, and like if you'd used that as the ad campaign to get people on board with Obi-Wan to begin with, you would have
I'd watch
expected
that.
it to be a really nice, very heartwarming, very nostalgic kind of show. Because actually, some of the clips they've shown from this, they are genuinely pleasant to watch. Like watching Hayden Christensen reminisce and talk about how much he owes to George Lucas and to the stories that he was a part of. And same thing with Ewan McGregor. If you'd used that as the ad campaign, you would have built up an enormous amount of really goodwill, only to then trash it when you saw the show itself. But it's like watching a making of for a completely different series, one that actually didn't destroy the story and the characters that it was abusing. So
There's only one person who trashed this program. Street
Sorry,
Code.
In your own time. In your own
Yeah,
time,
exactly.
We know who it is, don't we?
I didn't want to watch this
Kiki.
show at all.
Yes.
Yeah, you know how long? So basically, when they announced it, everybody was excited about it, and Ewan McGregor came on stage, and KK came on stage, and then how long did it take before they actually started shooting it? It was like a whole year, wasn't it, before they actually
least.
started? So that whole year was KK rewriting it. So basically, the script was
Ooh.
him looking after Luke Skywalker. It was all about Luke Skywalker and him. And KK saw the script and obviously didn't like it. And it took a whole year to rewrite the scripts to turn it into Princess Leia. And he actually said it at a con. He actually, Ewan McGregor said it in a con. So there's no doubt in my mind that I should not be watching trash anymore from Disney or Marvel, because it is evident that's what they're doing to the shows, and I have no time for it at all. But if you want to make money out of it on YouTube, go ahead.
You hear the sentiment from the actors and the cast, and you think, God, if you saw that first, as you would think that this is going to be a great show, this is going to be brilliant, we cannot wait. But you think, if they genuinely did know all these things at the start, then why did they turn it into such a rip-roaring piece of...
Bag of shite.
A bag of shit, basically. It's about the whole thing was a bloody bag of shite. Why?
Bishop Moore, hello Bishop. I want a Robert Downey Jr. to play. I'll start again. I want a Robert Downey Jr. to play Ron Jeremy.
Who's Ron Jeremy?
Porn star.
Away you go, Ian. We're not accepting that from you there.
I'm a nice Catholic. I don't watch porn.
Time Prophet says, I want Robert Downey Jr. to play Black Panther in blackface.
He's quite old now, though. I do admire him, though, because he left Marvel and he stayed left, if you know what I mean.
Enjoying his life with his family and his kids.
Apparently, there was quite a lot of studio pressure. One of the Russo brothers said for them not to kill Iron Man off in Endgame, just in case they should have to use him again. But the Russos then insisted that they actually did kill him off, which is definitely the right decision for all concerned.
Yeah.
Well, we've got, what's her name? Fucking Riri, whatever.
Riri Williams. Yeah, horrible character.
Wee Williams.
Yeah, horrible character. It's gonna.
What's that one? The Beetle, is it? What's that one that's coming out?
Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle. How comes he looks like Iron Man? I'm confused.
His armor is the blue scarab. It's alien technology.
Okay.
So I have no answer for you. Why like Iron Man?
Okay, toxic comments of the night from Melvin. I don't like Ewan McGregor, not as a person or an actor. He's barely passable as an actor, but not quite passable as a human. Fuck that.
Oh dear. Dear, oh dear.
I think
I wouldn't go that far.
I did see Ewan McGregor in the flesh in between the filming of Revenge of the Sith, between the main body of the film and the reshoots. And the gentleman just fucking glows. It's bizarre. I
saw him in Heathrow Airport when I was traveling once to Canada, and nobody noticed him. He was just had his head down with his little wheelie wheelie suitcase.
Did he?
And I noticed
Wow.
him. I noticed him because he has that distinctive little mole on his face, doesn't he? So I knew it was him. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he comes across as a nice person. It's just, you know.
Although he told, when he first played Obi-Wan, he told the fans to fuck off. Every time a fan came up to him and said, you know, "Oh, you're Obi-Wan, can I have an autograph?" He'd say "fuck off" to him. He actually said that in a Graham, in a Graham Norton. Yeah, in a Graham Norton interview, he used to tell them to fuck off, but obviously he's changed his mind because that check was so big with the Norts. So
I didn't see that version, but I heard him talking before. But the way he spoke about it before, he was kind of a bit more comedically. He would have people. He said, "I'm starting to get some strange people coming up to me and say, you know, may the force be with you, Ewan." And they'd be like, "What the fuck am I supposed to say to that? Fuck off." That was
but he did.
I haven't heard the Graham Norton version. No.
Oh yeah, he did say fuck off to a lot of people, but because his uncle said to him, "Don't do it, don't play, you'll be stuck with that character for the rest of your life."
Dennis Lawson.
Yeah, and Dennis Lawson came back to talk about Two-Faced. He came back into the latest Star Wars, didn't he? And so did Ewan McGregor. So there you go.
Time Prophet in the chat. Robert Downey Jr. as Miles Morales.
Excellent.
Okay, so a documentary about a shit program.
Are any of you going to watch this?
No.
No.
I'm not interested.
I will take one for the team.
You always take one for the team. I know why you're taking one.
I'm a team player.
You can do a stream on it. That's why you're taking one for the team.
I wonder if they're going to have a segment where it's Moses Ingram just like crying in a corner, just being like, "I'm getting so many hate DMs."
I know.
I'd watch it for
that. That was a strange promotional campaign they did with her.
Yeah.
Shame about the double-ended dildo lightsabers.
Yes.
Moving on.
Speaking of double-ended dildos.
Mr. Cruise, Tom Cruise.
I think this is going to be the last Top Gun news. I think this is edition number 13.
I've been kicking the arse out of it somewhat.
Top Gun Maverick was released this week on digital and
on Sky,
and it looks mightily fine. We kind of said it would. It's doing really well at the cinema theaters. We said it would probably hit $1.5 billion. I had a look at the figures today. It's at $1.4 billion. And it's. I would imagine it'll be slowing down now. So I watched it again this week, and I just love this film. But that's just me.
It is a good film. I need to go and buy it.
I kind of think that it will possibly. I'm sure it'll stay on at the cinema for a while. I kind of imagine it would make the 1.5 billion, which ain't bad, is it?
Kind of surprising. The budget on this was only 100. I say only by today's standard, 170 million, and it's pulled in 1.4 billion. Quite the profit margin in there.
I would imagine that will be for the jets as well, not for special effects, but actually for the actual hiring of the planes, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it paid off. Practical effects looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So well done, Tom. I'll personally be sad to see Top Gun Maverick news disappear. So well done, Tom. Let's move on.
Oh God.
So from the sublime to the ridiculous. Who would like to go first on this? This is the old round head, isn't it?
What's this about?
It's Knives Out too. It's called
Glass Onion.
Yeah, what a dumb name. I think that's the name of the boat that they're on in Italy. But I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me. I that's my guess.
Rian Johnson's head is almost exactly onion in shape.
It is.
Also makes as many people cry as Rian Johnson did.
Geralt of Trivia. This one is for you, Lord. Weren't you going to make more Obi-Wan videos? He's still waiting.
So there is one more. The script is, I think, 4 hours long. And for reasons of time and sanity, it's been very hard to actually get any progress on that. So the plan is still to do it. If I can try and get it out at the same time as Andor is on, I will. The difficulty is obviously day job plus all the coverage of all the stuff that's coming out at the moment has made it very difficult. The script's all done, most of it's recorded, it's just the actual video editing stuff. So the plan is still eventually to have that out. I just have no idea, honestly, when, because it's the longest thing I've ever done, and working the day job as well as covering all of this stuff is it's
4
time
hours.
consuming. I think it is, yeah.
Fuck.
It's like 4 mini essays in one.
Oh,
That's a stream killer. Anybody looking forward to Glass Onion?
No.
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 I didn't think the first one was all that great. I mean, it was fine, but like, I don't know how any of you feel, but when I watch a murder mystery, I want to be able to guess who the killer is, and I felt like this movie was more about immigrants than it was about a murder mystery, because every 5 minutes they were talking about the housekeeper who they couldn't figure out what country she was from, and the whole time I'm all like, yeah, but who killed your dad? I'm like, you guys should be worried about that shit. And it was just, I don't know, I didn't care for it that much, but it wasn't like bad.
I'd rather watch an old episode of Columbo than this kind of rubbish. So,
I also think Daniel Craig can eat shit.
Mr. Potato Head. Yeah, he's the kind of guy that got uglier as he got older. Let's face it. Sorry, mate. Go on.
More of a normal wisdom lookalike these days, and sex symbol, isn't he? But I thought this was going to be coming out in theaters and straight to Netflix, which is, I think, to be quite hilarious.
It'll get, from what I read an article, it'll get a small theatrical release, and that's just so they can do it for the awards. They can put it up for awards and stuff like that. But it won't be that many theaters. It just has to show in theaters for it to get nominated for like an Oscar or anything.
Yeah.
When we get Ruin on next, he'll give us the inside on all this.
Yeah.
Bishop says thought Knives Out was okay, but can't get over how much Netflix forked out for the sequel and the third film. More brass than sense.
Well, Netflix is actually, they probably realized they don't have anything like Friends anymore, or the series that was actually propping up the Netflix brand. So now they're trying to create them, aren't they? By taking something that was kind of popular and then actually, owning the sequels to it. I guess this is what they're doing here. I don't know.
I think Time Prophet's hitting on me. Most people get uglier as they get older.
Not really.
That can be taken both ways, Brown.
Anyway, moving on. So nobody's looking forward to this.
No, I just think how proud of himself must Ryan Johnson have been when he came up with Glass Onion as a title. You can just imagine his little round head swelling with pride.
Oh, right.
If I remember correctly, old Roundhead put a tweet out. It was like a Twitter competition of he got the fans of the first film to come up with a name for the second film. So I'm kind of assuming, which obviously assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups, that is a fan-chosen name.
No,
I might
that can't be right, because every time that happens, the result is like Knifey McKnight face or something. And that's what fans always choose.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You should get the fans to write his fucking Star Wars film. I
Yeah, not interested.
What does it always go back to, Brian?
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
Speaking of cunts.
Okay, this is where the rest of us can take 5 minutes.
Oh, God. Really? Really, really, Lord? Did you really have to do this?
I didn't. I didn't choose it.
So for the Mark Zuckerberg modern day data from Star Trek. He was interviewed by Joe Rogan, wasn't he, Lord?
Yeah, essentially just the Hunter Biden laptop story. That was the thing a couple of years, let's say a year or 2 years ago now, it's a little while ago, where there was mass censorship of the story that Hunter Biden's laptop had been found and contained lots of compromising information, both about Hunter Biden himself and his relationship his father may or may not have had with his business dealings. Widely dismissed at the time by all the major newspapers as fake news. The New York Post Twitter account was suspended for reporting on it. Transpires completely legitimate story, all true. Even the New York Times has belatedly started admitting that that's true, although it buries it deep down in the paper. But the question of censorship was just a relatively interesting one, I thought, because in this interview, Mark Zuckerberg is saying that Facebook itself decided it would take part in the censorship because the FBI had asked it to. And there's also suspicion, because it used the same, further in that interview, also explains that it censored some COVID so-called misinformation about the coronavirus, which turned out, again, not to be misinformation. It's interesting as a legal and also a political matter, though, because social media companies at the moment enjoy legislative protection in the States on the basis that they are not publishers of information. They are simply platforms for users to publish information, which is an important distinction, because if they're legally classed as publishers, then they are responsible for content that they host. They can be sued for various reasons if they post or host content from users which goes against the law, for example. Mark Zuckerberg is here sort of saying that actually they've been acting as a publisher on the sly. They are actually responding to government requests, FBI requests, CDC requests, and censoring information under government pressure or under pressure from the FBI. That's a legally dubious area because the federal government is not allowed to put pressure, official pressure,
He's actually
on
said
publishers.
that?
That's what he was saying in this Joe Rogan
Wow.
interview. Yeah, he says he suppressed the story for over a week based on a request from the FBI. The federal government isn't legally allowed to pressure companies to do that. So that's one thing. But on the other thing, it just brings back this question as to whether social media companies really deserve the legislative protections they have. If they are going to act as publishers, then they should be legally treated as publishers. That will wreck their entire business model, and they will all collapse in flames and lawsuits, which I wouldn't necessarily be sorry to see happen. But at the moment, no one's looking too closely at this, though, because it's censoring in line with the government. So, of course, the government's quite keen that they do this. So no one's asking the very difficult questions that really should be asked when Mark Zuckerberg unwisely comes and reveals the truth to the public on Joe Rogan's show.
Well, Joe Rogan's good, and he kind of, I got a feeling he kind of pulled it out of him, but it's shocking, isn't it? That it's just shocking, full stop, put it that way. But
Yeah.
you know, his for Facebook is like those porn companies, isn't it? So they have it's true. They have all these porn companies.
Don't know what you're talking about, man.
Porn companies on the web, and loads of people put up stuff on the porn companies, and they go by the same thing as Facebook, isn't it? They what did you say again, Lord? That they
So they are platforms and not publishers.
That's it.
Legally.
Yeah. So if, like, say for instance, if you're a porn producer and you made a spectacular film with, say, I don't know, Amber Turd, and you wanted to have it on your own website, and they pirated it and they put it on a porn site, that porn site's not responsible for that person putting the pirate version on the porn site. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what he's saying. He's saying that anything said that they're not responsible, just the platform. But now he said that it's not that. Then I'm guessing he's going to be in trouble for saying all this.
Well, he should be. At least questions should be asked. But because he's just but he's still towing the government's line. So, of course, the government's the only thing that can really take a look at this and actually ask the questions in a meaningful way. But because he's supporting them in their decisions, they're very unlikely to actually ask these questions. Whereas you might find if the Republicans get back in, that they start to take another look at the legislative exemptions social media companies enjoy. Donald Trump actually did flirt with this idea in his last days because the mass censorship campaign always seemed to be favoring Joe Biden and the Democrats instead of his own campaign.
I do recall that. They don't deserve the protections because they are undoubtedly partisan and they're editorializing. So, I mean, they can't have it both ways.
No, exactly. And it's really annoying. I like the idea of the exemptions in theory because I want an unregulated internet as much as is possible. Social media companies that are actually platforms and not editorial companies and publishers is a good thing. But if they are going to act as publishers, then they should be treated as publishers. And the best outcome is for them to stop censoring people, not for government to get involved and try and regulate them out of existence. But there was a thing on YouTube recently as well. They just changed their terms and conditions. So it's the stupidity of this censorship on government lines, especially the medical style censorship. Because for a long time on YouTube, if you said, for example, face masks are not particularly effective at controlling the spread of coronavirus, you would have been flagged by YouTube's terms and conditions for breaching their own policies. They very quietly decided to change their minds on that in the last few months, so now you're allowed to say it. But no one was allowed to say it at the time, not because it was wrong, but because they were, again, just they were caving to government and regulatory pressure. If they're going to censor, then they should be treated as publishers, because publishers censor by definition.
Well, that explains why nobody's done anything to these, to Facebook, because the government is using their platforms to their advantage, aren't they? So,
yep.
Anyway, whatever.
Okay.
They got Lex Luthor to play him, didn't they? In the movie.
They actually did, yes. Similarly creative evil mastermind. Fuck, have you just been going through my Twitter thread? Is that
Yes.
It's just easier. So go on then, fill your boots on.
Okay, the other one, this one is quite... I genuinely didn't even look too closely into this, but it was relatively amusing. So there's a thing called the podcast movement. It's one of the bigger expos for podcasters in the US. And they put on, I think it's an annual expo. The Daily Wire is one of the, if not currently the biggest, it's certainly the fastest growing podcast there is, and it's one of the biggest ones. So naturally, given that this is a podcast expo, they thought, well, we'll sell the Daily Wire a booth. So the Daily Wire had a booth. Ben Shapiro co-owns the Daily Wire, and he presents their most popular program. He was at the expo. The fact that he existed made lots of people complain. And so the podcast movement that hosted the expo said, we're really sorry. We know that this has consequences. We will never sell it to them again. Don't worry, though, because Ben Shapiro, I know he may have left his area once, and we're very sorry that he was allowed to walk around freely. But at least he didn't have a badge. And I like this idea that the Jew didn't have a badge is now this damage control thing. It's so tone deaf.
Star of David.
Yeah. But then you look at the comments underneath it, and literally so many of them are saying, well, these words are good, but we need to say action taken. It's like, well, what action? What are you talking about?
Fucking time machine.
Fucking put him in an oven, maybe. I mean, what do you expect to happen?
Jesus.
I do respect this guy, though.
Yeah, same.
I think he makes a lot of sense.
There's a little bit of love in the chat as well. Here we go. Time Prophet.
Yeah, he's really good fun. Like, I don't agree with him on everything, but he's a worthwhile person to listen to. And, he's putting out a popular position on many, or taking popular positions on a number of areas that large numbers of people agree with. But apparently his mere existence is a threat to the mere existence of other people. So, yeah, you can't possibly give him a public platform.
Well, if this is a thing that happens every year, like a festival, isn't it, that they celebrate podcasts and stuff like that, they should be, they should invite everyone, no matter what views. They should be impartial, should they not?
That you would think, but they've caved to that faction, the woke faction in particular, that thinks that if you allow conservative people to exist, then you're basically murdering trans people. And the podcast movement has agreed with that. So
well, the podcast movement should grow some balls. Let's face it.
Yes,
come on,
absolutely they should.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but the person that originally posted that caused all of this, I went to go look at their Twitter page and everything. They blocked me, and I was like, I've never had any interaction with you whatsoever.
That'll be blockchaining.
Yeah, I was like, I have no idea who you are. But yeah, that's what it was. It was. I probably liked a tweet that they didn't like. So
I had a fair amount of respect for Ben Shapiro, but that eroded slightly when I heard the Andrew Neil interview. He just folded like a deck of cards. That was such a strange one. I was looking forward to both of them. I thought would have been good going against each other. But
it was kind of the worst possible marriage, because I like Andrew Neil as an interviewer and I like Ben Shapiro as an interviewer. I thought the interview itself was it was really cheap and irritating. Like Ben Shapiro had a legitimate point, saying if you're just going to dig up tweets that I sent in 2012, there's no point us being here. But he did lose his temper way too quickly.
He did, but he did. But the thing is, though, he kind of stood his ground, and he there was one point where he just thought it was pointless. What was the point of him saying anything anymore? And then that's how the interview got derailed. Do you know what I mean? So, as I said, I do respect him a lot. He's got big eyebrows, big eyebrows. I do respect him, and what he says does make a lot of sense. And I do watch. I to tell you the truth, I haven't subscribed to the channel at all, but I do believe in what they're doing, and I think the more people like him, the better. I reckon.
Yeah.
But you know,
Here you go. Melvin says, "I liked that Matt Walsh
I loved it.
documentary, but not keen on Walsh himself. I think there's a reasonable chance he's a psychopath."
I strongly disagree. Like, I think a lot of people don't understand Matt Walsh's humor. That's the problem. So Matt Walsh is incredibly dry. He's got a very British sense of humor, actually. He's incredibly sardonic and dry. And a lot of people...
Sardonic?
A lot of people...
I'm stupid.
Very dry sense of humor. So you can't...
Okay, very good, thank you.
You can sometimes... I do the same thing. Like, my mum finds it really difficult with me because I have a very dry sense of humor and she can never tell if I'm joking.
Very dry.
Very dry. But Matt Walsh is like that. And if you take his statements seriously, then yes, you can get the impression he's a psycho. But the trick is to know which statements to take seriously. Someone made the same mistake during this whole story. Matt Walsh jokingly changed his Twitter bio to call himself a Christian fascist. And then someone, an American invariably, looked at the Twitter bio and then tweeted Ben Shapiro saying, "You do realize your friend is a Christian fascist, and if he got his way, he would kick you out of the country." Like, you don't... The problem with people is that they have no sense of humor. A large part of the woke movement in particular has no idea what a joke is. Everything needs to be spelled out to them, and they take such offense at things that are actually not supposed to be taken seriously.
If I may, for the younger viewers, Lord, what could you explain what a joke is?
Why the young people are the people who don't understand what jokes are.
Go with it.
You should be asking an older person what a joke is, given that so many people in my generation have completely fucking forgotten.
Right on.
I do like Matt Walsh, but the only thing I didn't like in that documentary is when he threw something at the board that he had. It was very dramatic. I don't know if you remember that bit. If you've ever watched the documentary.
I think I remember, yeah.
You know, the bit where he had the board up with all the things and he just threw something at it. You know, I just thought, oh, come on, this documentary should be better than that. This theatrical stuff.
I think the last 50 minutes or so, I think you lost me entirely, pretty much.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what the secret of comedy is?
Timing.
I do like him, though. I think he's worth my time.
Yeah, I did subscribe to that Daily Wire Plus. Well, it wasn't Daily Wire Plus when I subscribed to it, so they have some good stuff on there. I watched all the movies on there and stuff. So
he's into his geeky stuff as well, isn't he?
He talks really fast as well, that high pitch.
Yes, I was going to say if you play the YouTube videos at 3/4 speed, his voice becomes normal. Try that. Let's have a look. I think that's probably the last slide.
Is it?
Oh, look at that.
Eye test.
Consider dipping your hands in your pockets. Links in the description. Subscribe. Blah blah blah. You know the rest.
A, B, C,
D.
O. Oh no.
Do you want to finish, or do you want to go into overtime of overtime?
That's what she said. Yeah.
We've got 15 minutes until House of the Dragon airs on HBO, so I could do another few minutes.
2:00 does it air, does it?
No, yes. You need to get prepared. I think what we'll do is 1 hour and a bit is a nice finishable figure.
Finishable. Yeah.
Yes. So the chat, it was super short notice, but you guys are hardcore. Hardcore, you know the score. You were here supporting us. We appreciate it. Good to see you. I'll thank the guests. the wonderful Matt Cat 83.
I always have a good time with you guys.
It's genuinely great to have you on, mate. Old Grumpy draws himself, the Mega Geek. Hello, Ian. Thank you very
You
much.
have nothing nice to say about me, do you?
Cheers,
no
Ian.
worries,
You're a good lad.
no
You're a
worries,
good lad.
no worries.
And he was missed on the other stream, but he's back. Not Brian Young.
Cheers, Brun. Many apologies for missing the stream earlier on. I was gutted I couldn't make it. But thank you to Matt, Ian, Ben, and of course the chat.
And last but by no means least, the boy wonder himself, Lord Chord.
Thank you again.
It's funny how we keep calling him Lord when it's lost.
They even call him Lord on his own channel now. When it's,
There you go.
Can I just say I always call the man Lost Chord.
Oh, dear.
Well, at least someone has some fucking respect.
I think that is it. We may be turning, if I can speak, turning up for the second episode of what's it called, Brian?
Shit Dragon.
Shit Dragon. might be tomorrow, maybe Tuesday. But yeah, enjoy your bank holidays, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.